being here. I'm going to be here so I can see what you're seeing. So today I want to talk about, is this the clicker, by the way? Yeah. Today I want to talk about confidence in business because a lot of the time it's not knowledge the problem, it's not experience, it's not skills, it's what really prevents us from growing the way we want to grow is the hesitation, the fear, and all those self-doubts that really actually stop us from doing what we know we should be doing. A lot of the time we can have the best marketing strategy, but if the confidence is not there, are you going to implement it? No. I know I've sat behind, oh yeah, I should do this, I should do this. And then when it comes to doing it, I'm like, right? So I think a big myth we all, let me see, is this working? Which one do I push?
The opposite of what you think.
There. So a lot of us have been taught that if we want our business to grow, we need a better marketing strategy. Who's heard that before? Have you tried that? I've tried it. Did it work? No. Because it wasn't the real problem, right? It really wasn't. Honestly, like I said, right, you can have the best marketing strategy, but if the confidence is not there to carry it out, the execution is not going to be there. Also, I'm going to be totally honest, it may not be aligned with you. I know I have a coach too. They've told me, do this, do this, do this, do this, right? A lot of the time, because I was new to business initially, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. It did not work for me, not because I didn't carry out the strategy, but because it wasn't aligned with me. And that's another piece that a lot of the time I think we miss. But if you could have the perfect sales script, but if you're hesitating when you're in front of that prospect, do you really think you're going to close that sale? No. Or you could have that perfect marketing strategy, or maybe you're like, oh, you should host events and do speaking, right, all of this, but then you're hiding behind your social media because you don't feel comfortable. What if nobody comes? I know I ran into this. I have somebody that came to me and is like, Lou, how do I know I'm supposed to start hosting events, but I'm afraid, what if nobody shows up, right? All of us have those things coming through our minds. And then that stops us from actually moving forward. And that's really what, in business, is really slowing us down the most. And that's why we never really, I love this, the phrase of we really fall to the level of our self-belief. That's what it comes down to. How many of us have felt like we need to look like we have it all together? How does it feel? Imposter syndrome and exhausting, right? Do any of us have it all together? No. Even the people who look like they have it all together, I am telling you, they don't. They can be highly accomplished, and I am telling you, they're all navigating something. Even the ones who've really, really achieved significant success, I am telling you, they're still navigating something. None of us have it all figured out. And I think a lot of us put this pressure on us, right? Because we feel like, if I don't look like I have it all together, nobody's going to buy from me. I'm not going to be successful. Is that right? That's the default thinking we have. Is that really true? No. People buy from you because they trust you. How do we create trust? Being vulnerable. Being you. Right? And so, I mean, it's being okay sharing, yeah, I made mistakes. Yeah, I sucked at this. In fact, ladies, I baked some goods yesterday that I thought were going to turn out great. They turned out a little more chewy than I wanted them to be. Well, it is what it is. I am not going to bake another 100 Madeleine, okay? Is it perfect? No. Something went wrong. I don't know what went wrong. The taste is there. The texture could be better, okay? Am I going to beat myself up over it? Do I pretend I'm a perfect baker? No, right? So I want you to be like, there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable, okay? Lou screwed up in her baking today. Ladies, my heart was in it, I promise. Does this count? Yeah, probably more than my perfect Madeleine. What's really important is like when we're trying to look like we have it all together, it creates that imposter syndrome, and also it makes us hustle. It makes us like really keep pushing, keep holding it, like appear confident even when we don't feel like it, and it is exhausting. Instead, what I'm inviting you to step into is authentic confidence. It's not complicated, it's being you. Really being you, and the fact that if you're open to being authentic and vulnerable, it's a lot easier to carry. And I'm telling you, business flows better. So today, I want you to let go of the belief I need to look like I have it all together. The opposite, right? So let's pick out those Madeleines, right? So I want you to look in the bag. I put 2 Madeleines in each goodie bag. You'll notice for most of you, they all look different. And I want you to think, that's a representation of all of you. Each and every one of you is unique. And there's a reason for it. Does it make one better than the other? No, absolutely not. Now, as a French person, would somebody tell me, yes, this one looks better, this one tastes better? Absolutely. But guess what? We're doing this in our lives. We're using somebody else's standards to judge ourselves. The reason I picked Madeleine is in French literature, we have this author called Marcel Proust. And he wrote about the Madeleine. And whenever he would eat a Madeleine, it would transport him to the past. And I want you to think about you, ladies, and if you feel called to do so, please have a bite, okay? If you, most of the ingredients are organic. It's not 100% because I couldn't find everything organic, okay? However, like I said, the texture is not quite there, but it still tastes pretty good. You might need coffee with it, just so you know. If you feel called to do so, please have it. However, what I want you to think about when you do this is, what shows up in my business that keeps transporting me to the past? Maybe it's when you have a rejection, right? Maybe somebody said something and it triggered you into that place of self-doubt, hesitation. What if I'm not good enough, right? Or maybe that client or that prospect said, you know what, your prices are too much. And what did it trigger in you? Old wounds, probably, right? And we get transported to the past right away. And I want you to look at this in your business, how it's showing up regularly. I would love for all of you to share some old rules or fears that are showing up in your business today. And it could be anything from, I need more experience, I need another degree, or more certifications to feel qualified, to feel like I'm good enough, I deserve success. Or it could be, because this is what I watched growing up, and I want you to think about what you watched growing up as well, or what you heard growing up, as well as what society is feeding us. For me, I saw a lot of my parents working really super hard to be able to achieve any kind of success. And what did that plant in my mind? That the only way to succeed is by hustling and working harder. Did I want that? No. Did it become my autopilot? Absolutely. And for the life of me, ladies, I couldn't stop doing it. I literally couldn't stop doing it, even though it's like, no, this is exhausting. I don't like this. Why is it so hard? I couldn't help myself. I couldn't help myself. Why? Because this was literally my default. I watched my parents doing this. I believe it was going to be hard to create success unless I really worked hard. And if I wasn't doing something, I don't know if some of you feel this, I felt like, ooh, I'm not productive. I'm supposed to be doing something. Anybody else feels that same way? Mm-hmm. I finally broke it. That feels good. But it took me a lot of work, I'm not gonna lie. Who told you you needed to be perfect to be successful? Is that really true? No. Hustle and beliefs, right? Hustle comes from two things. What I talked about, those beliefs we may have unconsciously, picked up growing up, I need to really hustle if I want to be able to be successful, right? That may be one of them. It could be some other belief, right? That I'm not good enough if I'm not hustling, whatever that is for you, okay? But it could also be tied to certain fears. What is society feeding us? If I'm not hustling, my income is going to drop. Business is going to slow down. I'm going to miss some opportunities. Do I deserve success? Am I good enough? Am I lazy? Right? All those fears are starting to actually show up. Can any of you relate to this? Which one is holding you the most? Which one would you call out as like, oof, this one is definitely mine? Vulnerability, ladies. And I guarantee you, when you name it, everybody would say, yeah, me too.
I think the hustle of having to be first, if my client needs it today. And I think you said that to me a month ago. You said you can grow without hustling. And just clear communication of I'll have it to you by end of week gives me time to slow down and get them a better product. And you don't expect it today.
No. I love that you share that. How much do we actually put on ourselves versus what permission do you need to give yourself? Yeah. Thank you, Ashley. That was a beautiful share. I hope everybody heard. Did everybody hear what she said? Yeah. How many of you have ever felt uncomfortable selling? Okay. When I started my business, I sucked. And I'm not saying I'm perfect today. I really was bad because here's what happened, ladies. I had no exposure to sales before I started my journey of entrepreneurship. Now, this is not the problem. The problem is, what were my experiences with sales? People knocking on my door that wouldn't take no for an answer? Some sleazy car salesman? Okay, so what did Lou start thinking after she had those only experiences with sales? What did she really start thinking? I don't want to be like them. Selling is pushy, sleazy. It's forcing people to do something they don't want to do, shoving something down their throat. Really, that's how I was made to feel. So I sure didn't want to be like this. Now, I'm trying to sell now. Because if I don't sell, there's no business, ladies. But I don't want to be sounding salesy or pushy or any of this. And what happened is, even though I had the perfect scripts, even though I was trying my best, I couldn't sell for the life of me. Because unconsciously, that was so strong in the background of my mind that I couldn't close a sale, that I couldn't lead a conversation confidently and really ask that person to work with me, even though I really wanted to help them. But there's two problems with this, right? Obviously, I was focused on how I sounded like. And what's selling? Is it about me? It's about the other person, right? And what I can tell you is, if you change your beliefs around selling, and that's one of the biggest, I'm back. If you change your beliefs around selling, and that's one of the biggest work I've had to do, because otherwise it controlled me. I wouldn't follow up. I wouldn't cold, DMs. I felt uncomfortable. This is the third time I'm reaching out. Am I really bothering you by now? Right? This is all this stuff that's running in my mind, right? Gosh, I feel like I'm sounding like a car salesman again. All of this. If I really didn't change those beliefs, ultimately my actions were not going to take me where I wanted to go. Okay, so it impacted my behavior. But the other piece I'm going to invite you to actually shift today is, it's not about you. And if you just focus on the human connection, then you're going to be able to sell. Because you can look at that person in the eye, and it's not about being perfect. It's about being like, yeah, I'm not perfect either. But I feel you, I'm a human too, and I can trust you. And I see your problem, and I know I can help you. Do you want me to? That's it, right? So it's you're reframing what you're thinking around selling is, letting go of those beliefs, of those experiences, and then reframing how you look at selling. And if you can do this, selling is going to be a lot more fun. Who wants more fun in selling? Oh, by the way, I forgot one thing. One thing that really impacted me when I was working with a coach too on this was I have to be able to sell myself first. Not just, would I buy from me? That's the first question, ladies. Would you buy from yourself? That's the first one. The second layer is, if you had a sales conversation with you right now, would you buy from you? Right. Okay. I want to dig a little bit more into those self-doubts and imposter syndrome. How many of you think imposter syndrome is bad? Sometimes. I'm going to say, what if it's not that bad? Because I've learned that imposter syndrome shows up when you're growing beyond your current identity. Maybe there's nothing wrong with it, right? And I want you to think about this for a minute. Maybe there's nothing wrong with you. And a lot of the time, I think our biggest problem is we think there's something wrong with us. That's the only problem. Imposter syndrome is just telling you, whoa, you're stepping into new territory. It doesn't feel comfortable. That's it. Now, where it becomes a problem is if you're comparing yourself with others, and if you're judging yourself for where you are versus where you think you should be. And that is negative imposter syndrome. And that would actually cause you to overthink your decisions, not taking the actions that you should be taking, right? It's going to show up in those different parts of your business. Undervaluing yourself, all of this. That's where it's going to show up. That is negative imposter syndrome. But if you just think, you know what, I'm just growing beyond where I've been, yeah, it's going to feel uncomfortable. Yeah, you're going to feel out of your, kind of like out of the water if you were a fish a little bit, but that's okay. You're just like, whoa, I'm growing. Reframe your mind around this. I included a little mirror in your little goodie bag. I want you to take it out for a minute. And I want you to look at yourself. And then I want you to tell me, what is the first thing that pops in your mind? And I want you to be honest with yourself. And hopefully you're comfortable enough with each other to be sharing what you really think. I see Ashley really looking at her eyes. What do you see as soon as you look at the mirror? What's the first thought that pops in your mind?
I need glasses. I can't see.
Maybe the mirror doesn't work. What do you really see? When you look at yourself in the mirror, and this is symbolic, ladies, when you look at yourself in the mirror, what's the first thing you think?
For me, it's a flaw. Like, oh, my hair's sticking out.
Mm-hmm. How many of us think, gosh, I have wrinkles, I have this, right? All of this. All right? The first thing that pops in our mind is we are harsh on ourselves. We start critiquing ourselves. That's the real problem. Now, the mirror is nothing. It's just reflecting what you're really thinking about you. And what you're really thinking about you is what actually dictates all of your results. I'm going to talk a little bit about self-image a little bit more in a second. But I want you to think about this carefully, right? When you look in the mirror, if the first thing you think is like, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm looking too old, and blah, 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 right? All of this, you're doing this for everything else in your life, in your business. And that little voice is what controls you. Now you have the flip side, and you could say, oh my gosh, she is freaking awesome. I love this girl. I'm proud of her. Have you ever felt that way? That's the work. That's the real work, right? Do you talk to yourself like you're your best friend? Are you nice to your best friend? Are you nicer to your actual best friends than to yourself? That's where the work is. Yes. Okay. True confidence comes from your self-image, the way you truly look at yourself, the perception you have of yourself. That's what confidence is. And it shows up in every aspect of your business, in how you sell, in your marketing strategy, in whatever you choose, how big you go, how you price yourself, all of this. And that just depends on one thing: how you see yourself. That's it. And that's why when you look at imposter syndrome, it's because you're comparing yourself to some random standard that you established or that society is giving you. True confidence doesn't come from here. It comes from changing the way you look at yourself. Not changing you, ladies. Did you hear the difference? I'm not asking you to change. I'm asking you to change the way you look at yourself. It is because there's nothing wrong with you. What happens is your self-image, so the way you look at yourself, works like a thermostat. How many of you have felt like, oh, my business is growing, and suddenly things plateau? Yep. This is what we called the self-image thermostat. You'll go up, but then it will kick in, just like the autopilot on an airplane. It's like, wait. We're off course. Come back down. And then things will go back down. But if you upgrade that self-image, guess what will happen? Can somebody tell me? You'll keep growing. It's like, yep, that's where we are. That's who we are. Because here's the thing. If I think I'm a successful business owner, how am I going to think? What kind of decisions am I going to make? How am I going to act? How am I going to show up in my business? Versus if I think, I'm not quite good enough yet, or I'm not really good at selling, how am I going to show up in my business? Do you see the difference? It's going to take you on a completely different trajectory, but only changing your self-image. That's it. And it becomes, not only it controls your behavior, but it also controls what you attract. Have anybody heard of the law of attraction? Mm-hmm. That. You want to attract more clients, better clients? Change your self-image. What's your identity? I included a little journal. You can pull it out. And I'm going to run through those questions. And I want you to think about, what is your current identity costing you in your business? And I want you to write down the one that speaks the most to you. Where do I consistently hesitate in my business? Does something come to mind? Put it down. What results keep repeating no matter what strategy I try? Or where am I playing small? And I know it. Or it could be, what would I do differently if I fully trusted my value and myself? I know there's one thing that pops up in your mind right now, or at least there should be. Where am I still the bottleneck in my own business? And what would I let go of if I fully trusted my team and my systems, or maybe myself? If anybody is open to sharing, I would love to hear it. Go ahead, Kristen.
So for me, I was looking at number 6, what would I let go of if I fully trusted my team and my systems? And I'm a solo agent, but I do have a support team around me. And I'm still very tight with all of, I don't want to give up anything because I'm a control freak. And so I spend 1-minute tasks. And he said, that's what you need to get rid of. That's what you need to let go of.
Yeah.
And that's what's hard to let go of, because now I have to trust somebody else to do those 60 things the way I would, but not. It doesn't have to be the way I would, but that's the part I can't get over.
Again, I can talk, but what about if you started seeing yourself as a leader instead of a doer? Right? That would change everything, because you would start releasing the grip. So start thinking of yourself as a leader, right? And what kind of leader do you want to be?
One that trusts my team.
So one little piece at a time. I'm not asking you to let go of the whole thing at once, but let 2 of those, 5 of those, right? Little by little. I love this quote from James Clear, because every action you take every single day is a vote for the kind of person you wish to become. And we're all on autopilot. You have to make a decision. Who do you want to become? What kind of person do you want to become? Because that's going to create your results. I want you to think about, in your journal, you can write 2 things. One is, what is one belief you need to let go of about yourself that's no longer true, and you're still carrying it today? It could be, I'm not good enough, right? I don't look like I have it all together. Whatever belief that you've been carrying for a long time, but that's still affecting your business. And on the flip side, what do you need to believe about yourself? What is one belief you need to embrace about yourself instead that would serve you in your business growth? Maybe that you're worthy, you're good enough, you're already enough. Whatever that is for you. And I want you to think about right now, and I want you to write that one down, but if you really thought about the next version of you, the next confident version of you, if you could imagine that next confident version of you, fully confident, what is one thing she would believe differently or do differently? I would love for someone to share. What is one thing she would do or think differently or believe differently about herself and the world and business, maybe, if you truly believed? I know there's one thing. Kristen, go ahead.
Okay, so in my business, when I sign on with a new seller, I'm telling them my fee is 3% of the sale price. And it's even 7 years in, I think, am I worth that much money? Should I really be telling them that's what I'm worth?
Okay, what would the confident version of you say?
Well, I can tell you what my husband says. He says, you're worth more than 3%. And I'm like, no, I don't believe that.
What if you did believe it? How would you feel when you say it?
I wouldn't feel hesitant about saying it. I would feel the confidence behind it.
Yeah. And I want you to really lean into this, and you and I can talk more. Absolutely. I love that you share that. Becoming the confident you, right, can show up in multiple aspects. It could be in your sales. It could be like from softening your offers to leading conversations with clarity and really confidence. It could be in your leadership, right? I need to control everything, I trust my team, right? Or it could be invisibility. Maybe you're not showing up right now. You're hiding behind something, right? And you're now going to show up a little bit more. And these are some of the things you can think about. It could be also protecting your energy. How many of you need to work on protecting more your energy? Right? It could be holding your standards. How many of you maybe make concessions, change your prices, all of this for somebody? It could be that. That's the confident version of you. These are just ideas, right? But find the one that speaks to you the most and that you're going to work on. It should be charging your worth. It could be leading, obviously, with certainty or making decisions faster instead of sitting on it for however long. So pick one. Most entrepreneurs have obviously the formula backwards. We think we need to have the money, be successful already to feel successful. Ladies, it's the other way around. When you can think and feel and behave in a successful manner today, you will get the success, right? This is what I want. This is a lot of the work that I do on identity. But I want to wrap it up because today I shared a few things, but one of the biggest things is we all think we need more knowledge. What we need really is permission. Permission to feel we're enough. Permission to just be us. Permission to let go of that pressure to look like we have it all together. And I'm not going to give it to you. But you have permission from the next version of you. What would the next version of Sylvie tell Sylvie? What would the next version of Kristen tell Kristen today? Or what would the next version of Sarah tell Sarah today? She probably would give you permission. Girl, you're kicking it, you're rocking. Just chill. Or do this, you're good enough, right? Whatever that is for you. Today I just shared a lot of things. However, I want you to realize that inspiration is not enough. Your job is to hold that identity, okay? Hold that identity. And if you want some support in that process, I'm here for you. There's 2 more things in your goodie bag. One is there's a QR code that has there's a little, thank you card that has, and there's a mistake on it that has after, I apologize. There's a little thank you card that has 2 QR codes. One is for a guide on 5 steps to reduce imposter syndrome that you can download right now. And the other one is a link to book a call. If you choose to do so, ladies, I would love to speak with you. But if you choose to do so, there is no pressure. I'm not going to tell you have to work with me. This is not how I work. And I will leave you with, no matter what, some recommendations that you can work on. So I want you to give yourself permission today to actually book it and not be scared and be like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. Thank you. Questions?
She's telling the truth, there's no pressure. And I left the first meeting